Alright, for those of you who've been following this channel for more than a week, you may remember this Shure, a 100-watt, remote-controlled T-amp with Bluetooth and digital connectivity. And it looks a little bit different now because I've ripped it apart because it's a piece of crap. As the internals will show you, there's like nothing on this. So, this is another failure in an attempt to find a soundbar solution. You see, soundbars are very simple. People who get a soundbar want simple. They want to sit down, they want to plug things in, they want to have remote control, and they're done. Now, that makes it hard for people who don't want a giant receiver like the Yamaha, because they're soundbar people. They want very small and clean and neat. And it's doable. It is doable, but like something like this, if you got an SA50 and, you know, stuck it behind your television, it's only got analog inputs, number one. So that means your TV needs to have analog outputs, and then your TV will control the volume and everything will be fine. But the problem is a lot of TVs don't have analog outputs, they only have digital outputs. And when you try to go through a converter like a FIO D3, all of a sudden now you have to control the volume of your television with the knob, with this knob. And inconvenience that harkens back to the 50s. And, you know, I want to raise a television, you got to walk up to it and turn the knob. It's not happening. So, I've been on the lookout for something that could handle everything. And again, yeah, I'll do this on camera so I feels better about it. Oh yeah. SMSL has the Q5. Now, is this the answer to all our prayers? Yes and no. It's a T-amp. It has fiber optic and coaxial digital inputs along with analog inputs. It's got speaker outputs, 50 watt. I believe the same internals as the SA50. There's pictures online. I haven't actually dug into the build list of the same components, but from my listening it sounds pretty damn similar. It also has USB input, so it could be used as a DAC straight to a computer, or, well, any Apple TV, anything that'll support a USB DAC and a power supply. And it comes with the all-important remote control. Now, this was like a complicated remote control, and unfortunately, like 11 buttons don't work on this. So at least I bought a decent remote. The one on the Shure was crap. This one is okay. It uses a 2025 button battery. But let's go into the assumption you get this unit, you get this remote, and you program a better remote with these functions. But we'll go over this for now. Now, this thing is tiny, like tiny. Palm of your hand tiny. And it works remarkably well as a speaker amplifier straight to a computer. But it has quirks. I'm going to say the word quirks. I'm going to stretch it out long because I'll go over a couple of the build quirks right now. Actually, there's only one build quirk. This USB, for some reason, is a Type A, which is the stand. You know, this is what you plug into a computer, and for some reason, that's what's here. So you need a special wire. If you lose this wire, it's an A to A. It's going back there. Actually, it's going up to the laptop here, and so that's just weird. That's like that. You can't just use any wire you want. You got a special order one. Also, I had an issue trying to get this to work through a hub. There's an Anchor USB 3 hub, highest rated hub on Amazon. So it should be perfect. And I plug it in, this just makes ticking sounds. You plug it in direct to the laptop, it works fine. I'm going to blame that on my specific setup, and I don't have a ton of setups I could try this out on. So if you get it and you plug it into a hub and it goes tick, 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 instead of playing music, well, there you go. Standard 5-way binding posts. No outputs, which kind of sucks. I mean, no headphone amp out. That's fine. I don't mind that because where this is supposed to go is supposed to go in the living room. And no output sort of sucks in case you ever want to put a headphone amp or put it to a bigger amplifier. But then again, what's the point? That negates the point. So let's hook this up. And what I've got going on right now, I don't have anything to give me a SPDIF coaxial digital or this, but I have tested and it works just fine. I plugged it right into my cable box, and the cable box just went okay, and it played sound through this. It's got a really high-end DAC. I think it does 192. We'll check when I plug it into the laptop, which I'm going to do right now. Also, there's little really, really sharp metal. Hold on. There. I don't know if you could see that. This connector looks like it was designed to go on a board, and then those little flaps supposed to be folded out to keep from touching, and they just stick out, and they're really, really sharp. Like they tear. They'll tear right through your flesh and skin. So be careful when you're plugging in the USB or just running your finger on the back. That plugs in like that, and the wire is white again for some reason. I'm not gonna. Actually, I could plug. I've got my little Cal-on player here. We'll give this as an analog input, and that's got other problems that we're going to talk about. This whole unit feels slightly rushed, like they knew they needed it, and they sort of kicked up the scheduling. And I've got the Z wires here, which again are crazy giant, and I will sell you a pair. Just message me. These are 9 gauge equivalent. I'm not going to run the 0.1 sub in line. We could discuss that later. So here you go. That's everything hooked up except for power. Here's the power brick. It's a big son of a bitch. 24 volt, 4.5 amp. Which, if you're not sure if that's big, that's big. 24, 4.5 is big. I've got it plugged into the kilowatt so you can see the kind of power usage compared to last time's Yamaha. Whoop. Oh, see the spark? For some reason, 24 volt SMSLs like to give a little spark. A little excitement in your day, in your dailies. Now my Z wires are slightly stiff for such. I mean, this weighs nothing. It weighs like a pound. Do I have a thing? Beautiful. There we go. Now, let me make sure this is going to function. Yep, it remembers it. It just comes on just fine. Set up your options in Windows. Make sure you got all enhancements turned off. Make sure you got it set to the highest bit rate. It's powered on. You got to hold it for a second. All right, now this is what you get. You got this little menu. It says USB, volume is 16, and it says 08. I don't know what that 08 means. Did it always say that? Now, see what just happened? I clicked up and down and nothing happened. There's a slight wake up delay on this remote. So you got to hit a button and say, hey, wake up remote, and then wait, and then it'll start working. And I've had a couple instances where I go down and then up really fast, or up and down really fast, and it'll just keep going in one direction. So it's a slight little thing. Let's see what buttons work. Power works, mute works. You mute it, it blinks. Left and right do nothing, center does nothing. Up and down, that's main volume. It goes from 1 to 65. And if everything's working fine, you should never go past 30. On these speakers, which are pretty efficient, 30 is near destruction. Which is why I think it's got the same power as the SI50. This does nothing, this does nothing, nothing, nothing. The EQ switches you from treble to bass to volume. Now, it comes default 7, 7, and then volume comes every time you turn the unit on, no matter what you change the volume to. So you shut it off, and here, I'll turn it on with this now. 16. Every time you turn it off, turn it on, the volume comes on at 16. It doesn't remember the last volume. The knob here is very fast for changing the volume. You can see, it's just literally a click is every number. When you do it on this, it is much slower. And I was upset at that at first until I realized how goddamn loud 30 gets you. So let's go to the EQ settings. Now 7 and 7 sounded odd to me, but it goes from 1 to 13 is the treble and bass. And it definitely affects things. It's probably one of the most, not violent, but wide-range tone controls I've ever used. When you put it to 1 on treble and then bass, it actually sounds okay. You got to raise the volume a little bit. And then here's what happens. If you lower those down, for some reason, again, nothing, this green button will put the treble up to 7. That's just a flaw in their programming. So that green button takes your EQ of treble and resets it. Again, just a little quirk that I'm glad I figured out, because it was killing me. I was playing things, I had the equalizer set down, hit the green button. What the hell just happened? So that's what happens. So it would be really nice, SMSL, if you're watching this, if someone's translating this for you, see all these nice buttons, next track, last track, pause, whatever that is in the arrow key. If you can make this plug into a computer and become a media keys, if these are media keys in here and I can next track, last track, my foobar, that'd be the end of days. I'd have all sorts of good things to say about that. But unfortunately, these do nothing, and then the left and right do nothing, that middle button does nothing, and then these three are supposed to do nothing, and that one just does weird things with the EQ. If it's on 7, it doesn't do anything. So you leave the EQ 7/7, and your volume comes on at 16, and then you play music. Put it up. Mute, because that shit's loud. Now I'm at 26. And like I said, 30 is enough to make these speakers explode. So, it works the same. The sound quality is the same if you go USB or coaxial, digital, or SPDIF fiber optic. I've tested that. What is not the same is the analog input, the one I have my little portable player plugged into. Something is wrong with that input, at least on my unit. Oh, here's another thing. When you go down volume, oh fuck, it's not going yet. Ah, that was loud. Okay, yeah. When you mute, you can't down volume without unmuting it, then it down volumes. That's a little quirk. Good units only unmute when you go up and not down. Because you should be able to, oh my god, it's too loud, mute, down volume, down volume, down volume, volume up, and then it unmutes. Here's your source selection. Auxiliary now is clicked. Coaxial, optical, USB. Now I've had a quirk also where I was on auxiliary and the USB input was playing. It's not happening now, but it happened. Now I'm not sure what that 08 does. Damn. Maybe it does nothing. It's so small. I read the manual. That wasn't in the manual. So, alright, we've got some really good, yeah, pretty much 10. 10 is nothing. 10 is barely audible. And then you go up. And 20 is like... 20 is good, so it's good that it starts 16. And then when you get past 20, it's just... Like, this goes to 65. Alright? If I unpause that, these speakers would erupt. So I'm not going to. Oh, if you want to change source on here, by the way, it's you press the power button, short bursts, once. Holding it down, turn on, holding it down, turn off. And this pushes in to adjust tone controls. So we can just put up, and then volume. So it's all controllable here. And again, that goddamn stupid Shure didn't have any way to control the inputs via the unit. Mute. Okay, so let's get back to the issue with the analog inputs. Now I'm going to switch this over. Actually, that was the source over there. Okay, we're playing through this. And it's muted, thank God. Let me lower this. And lower this. And for some reason it bounced back to coaxial. There you go. Alright, so now we're on auxiliary in. This is the auxiliary in. It's my Cowan player. Let's put the volume to default, which is 16, and we'll turn this up. This is maximum output now. Can't stop loving you, man. Alright, before I get pulled for that gay theme, very gay. This isn't doing... See, this is okay, because this is a portable player. When I was pushing the full 2 1/4 volts from my audio engine, because this was the first source I tried before I tried USB, these were putting out full line voltage into the inputs. And when that happened, the whole range of volume distorted. It was distortion. This does not like full 2 volt inputs in analog. So if you're thinking about adding a DAC onto it instead of using the internal DAC, which I don't see a purpose for, it's got a really good DAC inside, probably the same one in the M2. You cannot put... I did the test on all sorts of tests, and volume on this, and volume on this, and it's about a 12 dB drop off of full voltage that you need in order to keep this from distorting. So even when I have this at full and it's not, I'm going to drop this down at least 5 or 6 notches from full, which is where you should have a portable anyway. You never push a portable to full, because you may clip the internal amplifier because it doesn't know what the hell it's doing, if it's doing headphones or this. Did I pause Brokeback Mountain theme? Yeah, I did. Everything is awesome. That sounds like a much better song. So right now I have my volume at 40 out of 50, and again, 0 to 10 is just barely audible. 0 to 10, and then 30. Switch back to the computer. So there's the computer. Alright, pause everything. Too much music going on. Now, so this has 4 inputs. That's a lot. It's got 2 digital inputs, so you can hook up... If you want to just output your television into this, that's fine. It'll take either coaxial or analog. If you want to hook up your computer to this from far away, from far, far away in the corner of another room, and you don't want to buy a 30-foot USB, you can send an optical cable or anything from your onboard sound. If you've got a home theater PC, you'd obviously go USB. Again, this is just stereo. So you could have... And then analog would obviously be something like this. Or if you're pushing a DAC, if you're pushing something that you want to do an ODAC, you've got to make sure you're not putting full signal through it or she distorts. I can't distort it with this. It's not powerful enough to push full 2 volts. This can do it. But I don't think you're going to pick it up on the GoPro's microphone as easily anyway. So, what are we looking at here? This is a soundbar killer. This is officially it. I might make a whole post just called Soundbar Killer. You buy this, you put this in your little cabinet from IKEA, which takes up no room. You wire it as cleanly as you can. It only needs... If you're just doing a soundbar replacement, you need standard speaker wire, a standard set of speakers, and a coaxial input, and you're done. Or an optical input. And then you take your little remote, and you turn on this, and you turn on your TV, and then you have good quality audio without a soundbar. I may do another video, supplement to this, where I just set this up on someone's television. Because I'm doing my full review here, and I'm just babbling on and on about things, and build quality, and it's really nice metal, and power supply amperage, and if you're thinking about a soundbar, you're probably not understanding a word I'm saying about gain and 2.25 volts and all that. Just know this is it. This is the answer. The amplification is good. The options are decent. The remote is okay, even though it does have its quirks. God, it's windy. Alright, let's go. Auxiliary still playing? Let's change songs. And unpause it. Again, I'm pausing things. Oh, mute. I can mute that. Another thing about this remote is you have to be a military trained sniper to get it to work right. Let's aim it over there. Ready? Okay. Nothing. Nothing. It's not bad. It's gotten better. I was worried it was either the remote or the receiver, but you've got to be like on the ball. You can't just nonchalantly unmute things. So you got to point at it. You got to be there. If you have an infrared repeater, if you've got a like a closed cabinet where this might go into, you would just put the receiver end right there. That side of the screen is where it is. You can tell that by just doing this. Or not. Maybe that's too close. There you go. Yeah, maybe, you know what? I think this shoots down a bit. Think that angle? Oh yeah, I could see it in there. It's just really poorly laid out inside of this. That it needs to be. It's covering like a third of the emitter. Let's see how far it works. Let's do the backup. Backing it up. Backing that shit up. Gonna knock everything over. All my stuff's getting full. Oh my god. Okay, never mind, I'm not singing. Quiet song, let's put it up. What the hell? She just jumped into the EQ mode. Because I'm so far away, maybe? Wow. Yeah. I'm going to go under the assumption that the codes, the blink codes that are on this, are a little bit too close together. Which is why if I hit down, then turn up, she sometimes screwed that up. And then why it was just back there and she switched to EQ mode instead of just raising the volume. So, raise volume. Unmute, then raise volume. So maybe just... She likes you to unmute it before she controls it. So that's good. That's actually a positive thing. Again, you turn it off. Slight hold, turn it on. Comes on at 16. On the last input, it remembers the input you used. It does not remember the volume setting.
Being a fool, being a clown, lost my way from up and down, and I know.
I think I like the volume control on this better than the SA50, simply because it's not even analog. Because I've had a little dirty pot issue with the SA50. Should you use this on your desk instead of the SA50? No. If you need more than one input on an SA50, they're likely going to be analog. And then you could just get a standard, RCA switch box and be done with it. If you do need them, because this is $100, I've got to mention this is only $100, where this is 70 or 66 now. So for a third more, you get this with the same power and a remote control and digital inputs and a built-in DAC. If you need a DAC and an amp, yes, you can get this. No headphone out and no way to access the DAC, so you're pretty much, balled on headphones now. If you do the SD793 and an SA50, you get a full headphone amp and DAC and a speaker amp. Again, that's going to cost you more, but about $130. So just keep all these things in mind. This is how this is all working out in my brain. This gives you USB and coaxial digital and fiber optic inputs and analog inputs that are slightly quirky. And powered speaker outputs and a remote control. Where the other setup with the SA50 and the SD793 gives you only SPDIF inputs, no USB, although you can cheaply buy a music source or music gain or whatever adapter to go from USB to SPDIF. But then you get a good headphone amp, and then you buy the SA50 for your speakers. So you get 2 units that do only a little bit less than this does, because this has a USB. It'll be 3 units if you wanted to add USB to that. So complicated. This video is too long and too complicated. I should just erase it. Either way, sounds really good. Switch sources. Tongo Tengen Topagawan Lagan. Piercing the heavens. I don't know if this is copyrighted. treble and bass. Bass now. It's really, really finicky on that. I'm amazed the mute button worked and that the spiral power didn't keep it playing all the time. Yeah, that's pretty much all I got to say about this amp. It sounds great. I have no complaints about the audio quality except when you push too hard on the analog inputs. The DAC is high quality. I think, let me just check the wake up remote. There we go. Playback devices. Yeah, she does 24-bit 96. 2496 is pretty good for a built-in DAC. She supports all sorts of formats. She's leveled. Yeah. This is as good $100 as you could spend on something for audio as possible. Right there. She's golden. Couple little quirks. Better remote if you get a learning remote instead of this one. That'll help a great deal. You gotta just teach it the buttons. And then, yeah. Yeah, this is all good. Perfect. Sound bars are no longer required.